Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Father Talks podcast. I am your host, Mike D. All right, hello, everybody. This is part 2 of our Windsor Football episode. I got an old guest and 2 new guests. Just gonna get into it about Windsor Football. So, starting from my Ilya, you're up. Introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Ilya Hudson. Some people call me Coach IC. I've been coaching in Windsor for quite a bit now. Probably going into like 15, probably my 15th year coaching football. Because currently I coach again. It's my 5th year with Essex Ravens. Um, I've coached at Brennan High School, and I've also coached at Kennedy High School for football. But on the side note, I'm also a basketball coach, softball coach, coached a little bit of rugby too. So I'm just all about just helping kids, helping our youth, and trying to cultivate them the best way I can.
All right. Jesse, welcome to the show.
What's up, y'all? What's up? Hey, everybody. My name is Jesse Wilkes-Flaherty. I'm currently play wood linebacker at the University of Laurier in Waterloo. From born and raised in Windsor, Ontario. From there, there's a
Ryan,
right.
welcome to the show, man. Give us your intro.
All right, my name is Ryan Connolly. Same thing, born and raised Windsor, Ontario. Kind of been around the place, started WMFA, went to Brennan, Kennedy, States, then Herman, then now playing safety at St. Clair College.
All right. Welcome to the show, fellas. All right. So again, like we talked offline, listen, this isn't about dogging organizations or anything like that. Okay. This is all about athletes talking about what they need, to make football better in Canada. Okay. So that is literally, this is the goal. That's it. We're having a conversation. You guys, we'll probably do another, episode after this because, we want to hear different perspectives about what Windsor needs to be successful. And here's the thing too, is that there's all this talent in Canada not being utilized. There are a lot, for me, as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of coaches there coaching, but they're coaching for the season, not for the future. They're coaching for wins and not coaching athletes up, and I believe that if more coaches were involved, if more invested in, really coaching kids up, Windsor would be able to offer kids more. Kids would be able to get more scholarship opportunities in the States, and that is what most of these guys. That's what their goal is to just try to get a ride in the States. So, with that being said, Coach Jesse, let's start with you. What do you feel like Windsor's missing? To bridge that gap from Canada to the U.S.
I think what Windsor's missing is just the love and support from every single, stage. I'll say like from the high schools to the rep programs, to the youth sports. Like obviously we do in Windsor, they do what they can with what they can. But I just feel that for the kids that are, going through the process and, like they need to have, like you were talking about, they need to have guys and coaches that care not just for the now, but for their down the line. And a big thing is just doing more things within, Windsor. How some guys that are from there, like they come back to do camps just to help promote the sport, and then those guys that are from down in Windsor, like they get not glorified but shown love, so that way there's more youth and more support from the whole city as a whole because they see people that are doing it and making it.
One thing I do want to touch on, Coach, is that especially probably over time and probably since our last podcast, a couple things have changed a little bit, right? So now we're looking at university players that can possibly play at the next level coming directly from university. Is young men that have that skill set. Jesse's quarterback from last year. He had a cup of tea in the NFL. Um, and I think he's playing with Dante now. Um, but it is a lot of kids that do have the ability and the skill and the work ethic
Yes,
that may not want to go across the border, right? They may just not want to go across the border.
and that's
I
fine.
think, yeah. But what I think is it needs to be a better systematic process here. And I could see like hints of it, like definitely at Laurier, starting to come from the U now. But I could see hints of these programs trying to make it a pathway where these young men can be professionals. But we're talking about Windsor and Ontario and Canada as a whole. So
Okay.
we don't see it. Probably on the west, like on the west side of Canada, like we do. We see it. It's a lot of good ball out there. But as far as like again, as far as Windsor and Ontario, um, it needs to start being more because it's a whole lot of talent being a border city, right? So we have kids that have that option that can just go over here, 30 minutes an hour away to a Division 1 or Division 2 in Michigan, or can, be right here 1 or 2 hours away, like a University of Windsor or Laurier, and be great. But it has to be these universities have to create a better system, I think, for these players and a better recruiting process and all of those things. That's just my take on it, right?
All right, we lost Ryan. Hopefully, he'll be able to
Oh,
sign. Um, yeah, and again, guys, like I said before, I love coaching in Windsor. I love
yeah,
working with the kids. I love training there because I see the talent there. Okay,
right.
I would say one of my major issues, and I won't say coaching first. I'll say some of the issues start with parents. Okay. Because a lot of the parents, they want their
Yeah,
kids to be the superstar. They want their kids to be the starter, but those kids they're not training in the off season. They're not, listen, I understand that a lot of people work, hey, but if you want your kid to show up and play this game and play at a high level, that needs to start before the season is already on you. So you can't show up 2 weeks before the season and wanting to start workout. Then it's already too late.
absolutely.
And that is at every level. I don't under and now I don't understand all the rules in Canada even, but like for instance, these kids don't start training until 2 weeks before the season starts. Like that is you are way behind the power curve.
Yeah.
Well,
Another
well,
part of that is too, man, is the writing is on the wall, for parents because we're talking about parents because they
yeah,
start there. So the writing on the wall for parents is it should be if I want my kid to be this and that and this great and I want to advocate and I want to go make a Facebook status or go talk to the coach after the practice or the game on why my kid didn't play or why my kid didn't get the ball,
yeah,
then you probably want to get your kid some training,
yeah,
right? And that's the part where they don't get that part. Like we can't coach your kids to be this and that in 2 days a week is unrealistic. The reason why stateside kids are typically better because they have training programs and facilities everywhere everywhere where they can turn their head, you know. Um, and their coaches are around the year and they have access to everything year round. You know what I
right,
mean? So
yeah. I
that's
mean,
a big difference. But again, and I think we said it during the last podcast, they also get paid to do those things. So
true,
now
true.
it takes away a big interest when a teacher, and I know some personally that, they're giving it their all at work. Now they gotta go home and take care of their family, and do things around their house. And then you're asking me to run a successful program and take care of these kids one by one to make them great, all within the span of a couple months to a
Right.
year for free, because that's
Right.
not a part of my salary. It's like, no, I'm not interested. You know, so you got to kind of find the guys like us that was kind of obsessed with it, that had a
Yeah.
little bit more time on our hands,
Fair.
and it worked out. For the time that it did work out, but everybody isn't like that, and it's understandable. Like either way, like it's gonna be guys like us, and then there's gonna be guys that are not like us that don't make them lesser than or as greater than either.
Yeah. Jesse, what's your thoughts, man?
I could say is, at least for me personally, like I enjoy any chance I get to come back down to Windsor, to help coach, or even like, spread what I know about the game onto, anybody else that I can. Um Even, like up here, like I've had a lot of great, chances and opportunity to get involved in the community, and, like meet kids that play here. And what I obviously with, there's two schools down here. Something that I realize is that the kids see the university guys that play sports as, like we're celebrities, right? And it's like, so it makes those kids that are young, like they want to, be like us in a way, they want
Absolutely.
to ask us questions to, see how they could get there. And it's just cool to see that in this area, and, it's trying to get brought back down to Windsor too. It's just
My fault, y'all. My fault.
trying to give
Hey, you
back.
good, man?
No, you good. And just help the youth learn it and them being eager about it. So yeah.
So all right, Ryan, we were talking about essentially how parents show up, how kids show up. What do you think Windsor needs, you know, to really get on the level with everybody else? I mean, because look, again, I will tell everybody, I will scream this, to the highest mountain, that Windsor has talent. It
Mhm.
has a ton of talent. There is just a huge gap. And your coach earlier pointed out that a lot of these guys are coaching for free. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna get the best out of them because they're not getting paid to do that. You know. So what do you think would help Windsor?
I think that's a really big thing.
Okay.
Like there's not a lot of money going into football at all in the city.
I mean, and that's fair. Okay, so we talked about this before, Ilya, you and I, and we tried to make this happen. And one of the things in the States is that we have every football game. Okay, what's one of the things that happen at halftime?
It's
We have the
always
band.
something.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, a
we have
band.
we have the band come out. We have cheerleaders there. Why? And I believe you want to get more people involved in Windsor. Bring those things there. Every school has a band.
Yeah, they do.
Every school has a band. Why not bring the band out at halftime? What would it cost the school?
When we
Now,
were at Brennan, we used to beg.
yes,
Used to beg them. I don't know if Jesse, did you know that when you were at Brennan, there was a band? So when we
Yeah,
had football
yeah, yeah.
practice, you could hear the band in the music room playing, and we like, please just come out. And the kids
yes,
were just the kids and the teacher were just too shy, bro.
But
yeah,
it even gives the band something to do as well.
exactly.
Yeah,
It gives the
exactly.
band an opportunity to practice. In front of a big audience. It when when kids come out that are part of the band, who shows up then? Their parents show up because they want to see them, perform at halftime.
Yeah,
You
more
know,
people.
okay, cheerleaders, listen, and it's not to make anybody's daughter seem, I, you know what I mean?
Not
Okay,
to be
Mhm.
provocative, but
yes,
cheerleaders
yeah, there you go,
do get a
there you go.
cry.
Yes, because and then when cheerleaders show up, cheerleading parents show up. When more cheerleaders show up, more dudes want to be part of the team. And it's just a fact, man. So it's not, I don't want to over sexualize young ladies. I'm just saying that it's just a fact.
No, it's
Everybody,
not. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, sorry, but it's high
everybody wants to
school.
be a
It's a
part of it.
natural thing.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and to to be funny, but it was true. This is like back in me and Coach Mike day. For us, we had to be athletes or girls not gonna date us if we not
Well, yeah,
athletes.
well, no, nobody wants to talk to you. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
like, so we
listen.
didn't have a choice but to lift weights, get strong, and be this, like, brute force on the field, or that girl wasn't gonna talk to you. Whereas now it's just like, you ain't gotta be none of that,
Yeah,
you know? We also had to have the cleanest Air Force Ones in school, and you ain't gotta be that either. Like, so it's a big difference. It is a big difference, and it's okay. It's okay to evolve, but you sometimes don't get the athletes that you get
yeah.
depending on the
I mean,
culture and the place and the demographic that you live in because we did. We played sports to be the cool to look like the cool guys in front of the girls too.
yeah,
And
but
that
I
you
mean,
don't have to be here.
even in my day when we played, which was we had regular helmets before y'all start thinking, damn, Coach Mike got them leather helmets.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that long ago. But
No.
I'm just saying simply, like for instance, there even needs to be like more off-season training programs. There's
For
nothing
sure.
for there's nothing for athletes to do. You know, all you're doing is going from one sport to the next with no real assistance. Now, I've seen more like coaching programs where guys are training the kids in the off season. Now, I'm not gonna knock another trainer. I don't want to do that, but
Never know. Yeah.
I just sometimes I see some BS that doesn't equate to football skill. You know, and you have to know if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna hurt somebody, and or it's it's just not the appropriate training for football players or not the appropriate training for athletes. Period. It's always a combination of that. I'm glad to see more guys trying to get out there and help, but don't just be out there trying to make money. You know, be out there to. I'm out there to make better athletes. I am out there to see you improve. So you are now, if you are not the starter, you are the dude right next to the starter, as far as I'm concerned. And if that's not your goal, you shouldn't even be out there.
Yeah, and to be a little I guess boastful, I I I think we did a good job of that. I think we did
Yeah,
a good job with you guys in the off season,
Mhm.
making sure you guys were uh, an integral part of whatever program that you were going to play at. Making you not necessarily always the
yeah,
guy, but a guy. You know what I mean? And that came with us boosting, not only just boosting your confidence, but just giving you that mindset that I want to be a guy. I want to be a dog or a wolf as we are apex wolves. But we always made sure that you guys had that mindset and didn't digress. Um, you two specifically did a very good job of that. So I do want to give y'all flowers real
yeah,
quick in this
yeah, yeah.
conversation.
I mean, Ryan, we'll use you as an example. I mean, Ryan came from where Ryan started at. This kid didn't even talk. Yeah. And I mean, but we
No,
kept
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
we kept putting you in leadership positions where it
hmm
would force you to have to share with other people.
Yeah.
It was your responsibility to make sure, other people got coached up. And through that, it helped you be a better leader. It helped you, as far as I'm concerned, it introduced you to the rest of the world and made you a boisterous person on the field.
Mm. And
That's a
even
you
I want
all.
to add on the emotional part too, because
Yeah,
I was an emotional kid. Then
true.
y'all fixed that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't emotional in a bad way, man. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
emotion that you would feel like you didn't do enough.
hmm
You
You know,
care, yeah,
yeah, yeah. It was just you carried a lot of weight. That even if we lost, I'm like, bro, you scored 4 touchdowns. Guess
yeah,
what? There's only so much you can do.
hmm
yeah.
So, and we need more leaders. Jesse, you've kind of always said, hey man, if we needed some help, you'd be the first person to volunteer. To help this younger generation out. You know, and these kids need more of that in Windsor. They need to see that they see your guys' highlights, but they don't see the work that you put in to get from point A to point B. And I think that's another issue in Windsor is that everybody sees the highlights, but they don't see the work that went into to make those highlights. to become the
Mhm.
successful athlete. Okay.
I have a lot of footage of that. I'm gonna start putting it out there of
Yeah.
y'all when you're
Yeah.
younger now.
Because that's what the
'Cause they don't
people,
know.
yeah. And that's the thing. They see Jesse's highlights, up if, Laurier right now, like, oh man, I want to be that. I want to be that. But they don't see the work behind that. And I think, even when you guys fail, those are the things that people need to see because they're not embracing, they're embracing, the stardom, but not the failure that got you there.
Yeah. And
You know?
sometimes that can be intimidating. And
Yeah.
off this sport, um, I was just talking to a parent about my daughter and my oldest daughter rather, and about how how good she is and this and that, and how she's going D2 for softball and this and that. And I'm like, it always wasn't that though. She had those moments where she's crying in the car. She had those
Yeah.
moments where she wanted to quit. She had a moment where she had like her first pitching coach just couldn't translate her knowledge to her in order to make it work for her. And she wanted to quit, right? And that's why I ended up becoming like a pitching coach, I guess if that's what you want to call it, because I knew I couldn't let her quit. But that goes for you guys too. Like people don't see that y'all had those moments. Jesse
Mhm.
was undersized for the longest, but was always the smart kid.
Yeah.
And then his size caught up with his smart, and it just made everything like so much easier for him. Like, those two back to back, varsity Ravens teams we had, man, you were at the helm on defense, just, telling everybody where to go and what to do and running the show, and that's what catapulted you in the Laurier. They saw your leadership on arguably those 2 seasons, like the best team that the Ravens ever had, right? So, but again, don't nobody remember how you was a little guy and couldn't push weight and couldn't, you know what I mean? But you still just had it in you to work hard. Yeah.
So, Jesse, and speaking of you, give everybody who's listening some of your background and everything and what got you to where you are at Laurier. Because here's the thing is that, listeners in the States don't know, obviously the work ethic that went into this. And like Coach Elliott mentioned, you were undersized for a long time, and now you're essentially a superstar at Laurier. And then Ryan, we're gonna get into your journey as well.
Mhm.
So I'll start it off by saying, like Coach was saying, I was small. Just growing up playing ball. I was small until like grade 7 or 8. Then got into high school. I started to grow a little bit, but I didn't have any, weight behind me. And then I think by like between my grade 10 year, I like, got
Hmm.
bigger. And then I was, everything was smooth. I was balling, I was having fun. And then once COVID hit, well, like my height didn't change, my weight changed a whole lot. So I think like the biggest I had gotten throughout that whole process was like 290. Just whatever life transpires, things go down. Yeah, and then ball came back. Uh, Played linebacker, like Coach was saying, with the Ravens for those 2 or however many seasons, and then I was still very heavy. I think I was like 250, 260 playing there. But yeah, I was like Coach was saying, I was at the helm. I was fortunate enough to win two championships with the team and win defensive MVP twice as well. And just throughout that, being a guy that always chose to, lead and lead by example, I was able to get an offer from Laurier. I got there, came in my first year. I wanted to play linebacker. They moved me to defensive end because, like I said, I was much bigger. I had to talk with my defensive coordinator, and he was just like, like I believe that you can. You just have to, drop your weight. And then from my year 1 to year 2, when I came into camp, I was 230. I looked way better. And then from that point on, I just, balled out. Won a Yates Cup went to the VA Cup, and then this past year was, got some cool awards and things. So yeah, it's been very good so far. And the biggest thing is trust the process. Always grind. And what I tell everybody is like, go be great. Cause I tell people you gotta be delusional in the fact that you gotta believe in yourself so much that no matter what anybody tells you can't do, you know that you're gonna make it happen. And that's something that's pushed me and driven me to, and it's gotten me where I am right now.
All right. I'll stay in there.
Wait,
Hey,
but then you get like defensive player of the year, like in your conference.
Yeah, I won the OUA Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, man, say that. Don't
yeah,
make it seem like
yeah.
My
okay
fault.
then.
Listen, we want all the accolades because we want people to know that, hey, listen, I put in work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Ryan,
for
same
sure.
thing for you, man. Listen, I know,
Mhm.
like you started off as the biggest, tallest, fastest kid,
Yeah.
and eventually everybody caught up with you, but that's all good.
Yeah.
I watched you, over at St. Clair.
Mhm.
I've seen some of your games. I've watched some of your highlights and stuff. People don't know, like, I don't always show up to games, but I do be watching them every
Mm.
opportunity I get,
You watch it.
yeah, to follow my guys and stuff. So,
Mhm.
but, tell us about your process, man, because I know that, again, you were a quiet kid who did not embrace leadership or being front and center at all.
It's just crazy. Now, so yeah, first how it started, doing MFA. It was actually y'all coached me first, it was bigger than everyone, faster than everyone. And it was like that for grades 6, 7, and 8. Same thing. Then high school, that's when I actually finally ended up going against older folks, like even Jesse, Darius, like all of them. Then that's what built me. It's like, damn, I'm not big no more because I stopped growing. So now I'm just short. Then the one thing that didn't change was the work ethic y'all implanted in me. Continue to do that. Then it led to a pretty good high school career, because COVID happened. So grade 9 and 10. I mean, they're Ravens grade 10. Was a good running back. There's the States, played a little bit. I say I did well. I did
Yeah,
well.
I mean, I think even when you played the States, I mean, you and Trent were behind. Listen, you guys were behind Cam. There was
Hey,
just
that boy's he's
he's
somewhere
at
doing right now. He
yeah,
just
yeah,
went to
he's at
I
Bowling
was
Green.
I I was state, right?
No, he's at Bowling Green.
No, he just went to a different place now.
Oh,
Did
he
he?
I think he's
transferred.
at Iowa
I didn't
State.
realize I didn't realize he transferred.
Don't quote me. It's something state, something state.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So he's
Well,
yeah,
still behind the D1
yeah,
caliber player, just
yeah,
coming
yeah.
from
yeah.
Canada being young.
You coming from Canada, being
Mhm.
behind a D1, athlete, you know,
Yeah.
listen, you still got your reps, and
Yeah, that's the
one,
thing.
yeah, you did your thing.
Mhm.
Even with every opportunity, you made sure shit happened with
Yeah.
all the reps. So
And I liked it because it brought me to like, okay, I'm at the bench now. I'm not the best player no more. I gotta actually work for a spot now.
yeah,
Not only work for the spot, I gotta try to get sharing reps with this D1 running back.
yeah.
But
But
that
and
that
then
was a blessing though.
go ahead, man. I'll let you finish before I go.
No, that was a blessing though, because it really like I already had the work ethic, so it's like just continue to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Then there's that. Then there's Herman. Came back to Canada,
Yep.
tore my knee, then had to do a rehab on that. Then the next season came, was the best player, but it translated because the States, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say because it's just a faster game. It
Yeah.
really helped. So it
Well,
came to that.
so how did it prepare you for college? Everything that you've been through.
Everything, I say that situation in the States where I had to start behind and come back,
Yeah.
that was the same thing at St. Clair. I had to be behind everyone.
Okay.
Then it was 6 games in. I ended up being the only rookie starting on defense.
Right. Oh shit.
So
Okay.
so there's that. Then even working harder than some of the people that were already there to get that spot.
Yeah.
There was that. That was just in me from when I was training with y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. But you understand that nothing is going to be given to you.
Yeah.
And that everything has to be worked for if you want to be that guy. And
Then
that's
also like opposite of Jesse, I'm undersized now.
yeah.
So There's there's just that having to be in the weight room trying to get bigger, you know,
Yeah.
because the height's not changing. The height's not changing.
Yeah.
Then also the smarts, they gotta be now smarter than just
Understand
know the
it.
game more.
Right. Athletic ability isn't enough, you know, at your guys' level now. You have to know the game. You have to be clicking on all cylinders. You can't you can't just be talented. You have to be smart.
Mhm.
You have to be the guy who wants to step up, who doesn't mind, you know what, putting the game on their shoulders, you know?
Then yeah, even about that, stepping up in that leadership role.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
safeties
And
at St. Clair, I'm the one with the mic. I'm the one who has to call the plays now. So
yeah,
that's crazy coming from the quiet kid who didn't say nothing. Now every play I gotta tell everyone what's going on. It's
right.
All right.
stepping in
But
that role of leadership.
all of that though started for you guys through hard work and
Mhm.
not expecting you guys were, and not that we didn't we held every kid that we've ever coached, you know, to a certain standard. Listen, and you know, Coach Ilya will tell you the same thing that, you know what, listen, I don't care how good you are at one position. I need you to be good at multiple positions.
Multiple, yeah.
Yep. Because why? Because when coach says, hey, I need a body, I know who I can put in that place. It might not be your position that you normally play, but I know that you can contribute at this position at a high level. So when we need a body, you know, and that's why, like, we've always been firm believers on, you know what, we don't stand around watching plays and shit. You know, you'll get your opportunity when coaches call you. So while the offense and defense is doing whatever they're doing, we're gonna step away and work on where we're weak at. Um, Coach Ilya, you've been coaching, you know, in Windsor a lot longer than I have. I took some time off and that. Have you seen anything that would make you hopeful that things are changing? Especially conversation when we talked about this almost a year ago.
So right now I'm coaching the Bantam division.
Okay.
I went back down to Bantam. Myself, Coach Rick, um, Coach Jesse, which is Jesse's dad, um, along with you and Coach James and Brian. Like we've all coached together um, over the years at high school and Windsor Minor.
Right.
I think what myself, Coach Jesse, and Coach Rick, we kind of wanted to try to give them a little bit, along with the other good coaches that we have, is that foundation that we used to give that younger group in Windsor Minor and in high school moving forward. So we're trying to use that formula to translate it there. Hopefully that goes for everybody. I always had this um conversation with some coaches outside of you guys about that, in order for this to continue to get better, it starts at the foundation. Foundation for us is Windsor Minor football. So these coaches who volunteer their time, which is honorable, but you got to understand that you're trying to teach these kids, and it could possibly be their future. It could possibly, help them get stipends and things like that for their education. And always looked at it from that standpoint to help them to have also, life skills and people skills as well. And, team building, right? So we always kind of had that. So you got to have guys that are willing to do A, B, and C and check off those boxes starting at that level and starting these kids young to have that mindset in order for the parents to continue to be engaged, in order for the kid to be, in order for the parent to make sure that their kid is engaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like this, we have to start being more of a community about it and not saying, okay, I don't, I don't like this guy, or I don't like the way this guy coach, or I don't like, this school. And I'll even make myself accountable. Y'all know me. This is one school I really don't care for, but I love all my kids that go there and I want the best for them. But I also think that um, that school is a pillar, for football. You know what I mean? And I would never want to see it die. And I would want everybody to be hands in on building whatever, program, that might be falling or failing or anything like that. So so I say all that to say it starts at the foundation. Everybody has to be hands in. So if a kid goes to uh, uh, a certain school, you know, be hands in. Don't just be like, oh, my kid go to this school, play football, and you just not involved. My pet peeve is parents not being involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to be involved. You got to know what's going on, and just be there. Make time to be there. I know it's not easy for everybody, because a lot of parents, work different jobs, odd jobs, and time constraints and
Mhm.
things like that. But if you can be there, and if you can't be there when they come home from those hard days of work, ask them how it's going, what needs to be done. If they having trouble and want to be better, try to help them figure out what you can do in your household for them to get better. Just everybody being hands in, man, because it's important. It's important, and everything can work and be better in Windsor. Far as
Yeah.
football goes, and even sports in general, because I see it in a lot of different sports, except hockey. Like hockey,
Hey,
they got it covered. You know
hey,
what I
well,
mean?
it's Canada's pastime, so
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Fun fact: I found out yesterday that hockey is not Canada's sport. It's lacrosse. Blew my mind.
yeah.
I didn't know
Well,
that.
I will tell you this. Um, for me, I am happy to see the sum total of what you guys are doing as athletes. You know, so like finally, like our last group of kids that we coached, you know, they're all in college. They're all doing these amazing things, and I couldn't be more excited. I just want to see now less drama, less BS. Like I would love to come back to Windsor to coach, but being in the States, it is hard. It's just too hard to travel back and forth, you know, and especially, and people can be offended, but especially to be doing it for free and for people to not show up consistently or not be committed, because
Yeah.
throughout the years, it was always the same group of kids that was super committed to getting better. And you would see that performance, on the field every
Mhm.
week, week in and week out, you know, and
Yeah,
that is, I think that's a fundamental thing that a lot of these kids are missing is being committed to something and
Yeah.
giving it 110%. You know, you can't show up, you know, and work out one extra day a week and be a Ryan or, show up an extra 2 days a week and be where Jesse's at. It's not enough, and unfortunately, I don't see enough parents getting involved enough to, especially before kids get to high school. They just want their kids, well, my kid didn't, they didn't get their 12th place. Okay, first off, as a parent, you should be embarrassed that all you want for your kid is 12th place.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's something that, I've told people before, well, my kid didn't, they only got 8th place. And okay, but guess what? You as a parent should want more than that. You should want your kid to be able to rotate in whatever position that is. And that starts with parents.
Mhm.
Then, kids even joining to sport and then quitting, because it's
Yeah.
hard. What, why would you allow that? You're already setting a poor standard, you know, by letting your kid join the team being 2 weeks in and we're like, "Oh, this is too hard, I don't wanna do it." Listen, football to me is a sport every kid should play to learn that if I want something, it is gonna be difficult,
Yes.
and there's also that brotherhood in football that I personally think you will never find in another sport because that guy to your left and right is responsible for your safety. If they don't do their job, you get hurt, it's that simple. Do your job. Do your job so I can do mine. Parents, hold your kids accountable. If your kid says, "Hey, I want to join this sport," be accountable. You're gonna show up for practice every single day, or you not. That's it. You won't play another sport, or you're gonna finish the season even. Jesse, a little bit
Yeah.
off topic. Okay,
What's up? You good?
how's the music going? You didn't think I was going to let you get out of here without talking about the music, right?
Music's been it's been going great. I just previewed a snippet of a song that I'm gonna drop within these next 2 weeks. Just trying to
Okay,
get everything sorted out with that. But no, it's been great. I've had a lot of time to really, put more work and more time, energy, and things like that into it. So honestly, it's been great. I've been engineering, producing, mixing, mastering, just doing all those things, and I've been starting to really explore more with my sound to see things that I like and things that I don't like. So with the music stuff, it's been going it's been going very good. That's been going very great. I got a like I said, song dropping in these next coming weeks. Music artist name is NBS Marachi. So if I get the opportunity or chance, check it out and let me know what y'all think.
nice. Outstanding. Ryan, so I know that you are out where right now?
Muskoka Woods. I'm a activity instructor right now.
Okay. So who you
Yeah.
working with? Are you working with kids or
Yeah, like high school
okay,
kids, grade school
okay.
kids.
That is crazy, man. Because again,
Yeah. Like
for those people who don't
like
know and don't know where Ryan came from, Ryan was the kid who literally, no matter how much you tried to engage him, he
said
would just look at you
nothing.
and nod, just nod or grunt
Mm.
of weird shit. Like, bro, did this motherfucker just grunt at us? Yeah.
Yeah.
So to see you out leading kids and teaching and shit, man, is phenomenal to see where you've come from.
Nah,
You
that
know,
shout out to y'all though. That shout out to y'all,
I
100%.
have so much footage of y'all. I'm gonna bring up another video.
But
Did
yeah,
you do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. The chicken one?
Yes, I have a whole video of him trying to teach me how to fry chicken.
Oh my god,
Oh my.
what?
It's hilarious. This is like he was like in grade 9, grade 10,
Yeah.
That, no,
down to
that's
me like how you fry chicken. But that was me getting you out of your shell.
Mhm.
right.
I say that to say that with just silly stuff. You know, me and Coach Mike,
Yeah.
we were no nonsense, but we're also very silly. You know what we want to be. So
Yeah.
in order for you guys to um kind of buy into us too, we use those genuine tactics to
Mhm.
make sure you guys were opening yourselves up, and it helped you not only as far as your people skills, but in the game too.
Yeah,
So it worked.
Yeah, and even off topic of the Windsor football stuff, like literally the father talks. Like y'all know I didn't grow up with like, my dad.
yeah,
Right.
So like, y'all just doing that, being that father figure to like teach me things that like, cause I believe you gotta be raised by a man and a woman,
yeah,
right? A woman can't raise a man, but y'all helped me to be those father figures to help show that, okay, this guy has these traits. He didn't get it from his mom. But yeah, but nah, y'all were blessings from God for real to be them father figures that I didn't have at home, you know?
right. And you know what?
We
And
appreciate
that's
that, man.
really, and the thing is, it wasn't. We didn't set out for that to happen.
Mhm.
It was just our group of kids, and,
Yeah.
if I could put it like that. You guys were our group, and we always wanted to make sure that you guys had the best, or,
Mhm.
if y'all needed us for something, that we always wanted to be, to be that resource. And a lot of
Mhm.
people say, "Hey, man, you can holler at me whenever you want to." We genuinely meant that, you know. Brian, we had a little falling out for a while there,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. But I never thought, like, if you had really fallen on hard times and you needed my help, I would have definitely have been
But
there.
no, even just situations like that just gave me a deeper appreciation. God revealed to me like, yo, this guy did all this for my life. But it wasn't a mistake, he was there. To go deeper, you can see the difference between me and my brother, right? He's still that shy kid,
Yeah,
can't talk to no one. But it's like that's just because I got introduced
yeah,
some father figures that help build me up because that's what men are supposed to do. They're supposed to get their kid out their comfort zone
right. And
to
that's the thing.
get them better,
I
you
mean,
know?
like growing up, my real dad was never there. You know, Stepdad, stepped into that role, and I think that kind of rubbed off on me wanting to be there, for people who were like me who didn't have a father figure around.
Yeah.
You know, Jesse, I know your old man was always there, but always pushing you to, be a leader. So like it was easy for us working with you because you already had that mindset. It
Mhm.
was always, hey, how can I help, these other young men be better young men? Ilya, same thing with you. When we first like we 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 kind of we didn't talk a whole lot. Like when I first started coaching, we walked by each other. Hey man, what's up? How you doing? And
Mhm.
that was the most of our conversation.
Yeah.
What we allowed once we got to talking and everything, we had a lot of common interests, and
Yeah.
it was always about the kids. It wasn't about just winning. It was about the kids and
Mhm.
how much better we can make them as a whole, and using football as, the foundation to make these young men better.
Yeah. And even for me, like, cause Coach Mike is a little bit older than me, so he's like a big brother. So just being accountable, like being on time and being focused on the task at hand. Like those things, it was like, yeah, I just wanted to make good players and star players, but what you need as a player when as you get older, being accountable, being timely, being disciplined, right? Especially discipline were some of the things that I kind of just piggybacked off Coach Mike with as far as using. And, some of the things that I learned from my coaches when I was an athlete. But um, Coach Mike really pushed that part of the agenda, and that was like to me probably the most important part of all of it because this is why we have you playing college ball, you playing university ball. Tayshawn's a university player. Darius is a university player. Tone is a university
Yeah.
recruit. Kevin is a university player. And I know I'm probably missing some guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a ton of kids
Um,
out there with all this potential, man. And
yeah,
I want to see that. I want to continue to see that growth. And at some point, I'm gonna figure out how I can get back into, helping out with things over there. But because
yeah, because we need it.
yeah, because the
I'm tell you that now.
and I would love to be there, but it's just, I mean, again, it's just got to make sense. That's it.
Got to make
Yeah.
sense.
Um,
Absolutely.
so before we close and whatnot, and especially Jesse, Ryan, I want you guys, for athletes coming up, what's your advice to them if they want to be successful in this game, and in life in general, you know, what is your advice to them? Jesse, we'll start with you. You've been a little quiet.
It's all good. I've been taking everything in.
Hey, no, man, it's good. It's good.
My advice to any, yeah, what's up? I'll say, for me, growing up, playing the sport, I was blessed to have so many great coaches that instilled so many, very important and valuable lessons into, me. So I'll say really it's, like surround yourself with like-minded individuals, like if you can, get coached by coaches that really want to help you be great. And something
Mhm.
that I always preach is be great and take care of the small things, whether that's film, schoolwork, extra field work, going to the weight room. Like I have something that's on my board. It says like, like there's always somebody that's trying to outwork you. So just outwork like you what you got everything you to outwork them. And that's just really big. Like even with the things that I have done, I know and I understand that there's so much more that I need to accomplish and that I will accomplish because I was taught to never take anything for granted. Don't be okay with being good. Go be great and just and everything you do, put your best foot, forward and always fall back on the hard work no matter what transpires or what goes, down. But the biggest thing is believing in yourself, believing in who you are, and believing in your abilities. And once you do that, and like I said before, you're become delusional within that in a good way, that's gonna allow you to do so much more than you would even think or even know because you're gonna force yourself to push yourself to achieve the things that you would know and believe that you can.
Outstanding. Ryan, same question for you. You know,
One thing, I like what Jesse said about surround yourself with like-minded people. So Bible says, surround yourself with fools, you become a fool. Surround yourself with wise people, be wise, that applies to anything. So if you really want to take sports serious or just being successful serious, y'all gotta surround yourself around good people. You can't be back and forth like, oh, you got one group that's doing all this, but one group doing that. You gotta choose one. It's not no in between. Then that also here to go back on that, it's like because when you're bored, it's like you call up your friend to something to do. If you around the right people, it's like, oh, we have to field. By default, you gotta go get some extra work in, you know?
Right. But there's nothing wrong with that, man. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, Ilya, you and I have talked to about this quite a bit. Is that there are not enough resources or things for kids to do in Windsor? You know, whether that be getting to a gym, whether that getting to other programs, just activities that help keep them out of trouble. You know,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree with that.
and they need there needs to be more there, and I don't know how to make that happen. You know, but there definitely needs to be more resources to keep these young men out of trouble. These young men. There have been there have been a few guys that I know whose opportunities have passed them by, unfortunately, because they didn't stick with the plan, or there weren't
Mm,
resources there for them to help to keep them on track. And that is something Windsor is missing. More men who don't mind volunteering their time, or, more guys who are serious when they tell kids, hey, hit me up, man. If you need something, give me a holler. There's not enough. And I understand that we all have our families. It's a huge commitment, to be there be this sounding board, for all these young men. But the reality is that if not us, then who?
right,
You just right. You guys are getting to a point where these kids are going to be looking to you for advice, for help, for guidance. You know, you guys will be taking our place. Sooner than later.
Mhm.
Coach Ilya, I'll give you the last word.
Hold up, there's another thing I want to add on
Oh,
to it.
go ahead.
Even the social media too. Social media kind of clowns like, oh, this guy's a try hard. Why you trying so hard in this? That's
mm.
one thing. Just
I know you're
ignore the
talking about.
noise. Ignore the
Yeah,
noise, because there's always
Yeah,
going to be someone saying something, and there'll be people
yeah,
right in your face smiling like, oh, you're doing great.
yeah,
Out there behind the scenes, like, man, this guy's tripping. He's doing too hard in this for what? That's another thing too.
yeah. But
Don't let the noise be too loud.
that's right. Yeah, and again, like, because we're talking about what works and what we think should work and what needs to happen. Um, Coaches and volunteers who do take on these tasks, man, they gotta understand that it gets steep. It gets really deep. You get really invested. I know some people used to tell me like, ah, man, you too invested, and it's like, no, man,
Mhm.
I have kids who have lost parents. I have kids who I have lost. You know, um, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or using or anything like that, just because they didn't have that person that they can necessarily talk to or that they can text. So I've always made it a point to try to be that guy. Like if you need something, text me. If you having issues at home, I'm coming to pick you up. We might ride around. We might go work out. We might go to another coach house and talk and work out and do things like that. So you gotta be willing to understand, man. If you really want to be honorable and do this, it gets deep, and it does take a lot of time. I'm a father of three. Out of the three, two of my daughters play softball at a high level that requires a lot of my time. Right. When I am coaching outside of them, I still try to find that medium between them and the sport that I'm coaching or the group of kids that I'm coaching, man, and just be invested. So you gotta find a balance because you can't get lost in it.
okay. So, all right, guys. With that, I'm gonna close this out. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I think we're gonna try to do this maybe once a month. And it doesn't have to always be conversations just about what's what's wrong in Windsor football. We want to come up with some solutions. We want to come up with, hey, listen, I've been thinking about doing this, or hey, somebody in the community is doing this that will, help keep kids out of trouble, help build a community as in general. And listen, I'm willing to be a part of anything, help out as much as I can. If you need some advice on some shit, who's ever, if you're a kid from Windsor, I'm not saying that I don't help kids in the States, but the kids in Windsor have a little, have a little piece of my heart, man. We've been together for a long time, seeing you guys grow up, going from from not liking girls to being girl crazy to, to not talking at all to, finding your faith and, all that kind of stuff. It has been an honor for me to be a part of this journey, to see you guys grow up. And so if we can do this even just once a month, once every other month, I would love to do that. Even, you got another somebody else that you want to bring in, suggest that they come on the show. Let's do that. We can have more than, 4 people on do at one time. But again, guys, thanks for, taking the time, out of your day, because I know you guys are busy. Ryan, Jesse, Ilya, thank you so much for coming on the show. And again, we'll do this again sometime soon. You guys let me know whenever you're free, and we will set something up.
All right,
All right.
fellas. See
Sounds
you
good.
around. Always
Thank
love.
you. Thank you.
See y'all.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
All
y'all.
right.
Y'all have a
All right,
blessed
Hey,
evening.
you
See
remember
ya.
what I told you about your about closing everything out?
I did
Yeah,
not like. There's
yeah.
a lot of
Hey,
buttons.
just pause for a minute before you do.
I'ma just not touch nothing yet.
Okay, bet.
All right.
All right, guys,
All right,
be
y'all.
good. Take care.
All right, see you,
All right, y'all.
Jesse.
Easy.
Blessings, man.
All right. All right. For you